What is up, guys? Going to be doing a test hand video for this. It's pretty exciting since I haven't done a test hand video for a long time now, but I figure after the tips and tricks video and the deck profile, I wanted to better explain certain scenarios that could happen, and I figure it would be best explained if we were actually put into very common scenarios that can happen when we actually do our test hands. So deck's shuffled up already, but we're going to give it a few more shuffles and see what kind of hand we can actually get from this. So by doing test hands, we can actually experience a more realistic scenario on what we can actually draw into and what we can actually potentially get. And we'll work from there and see what happens. Alright, so give it a cut. And we're going to go a few turns going first and a few turns going second. So for our opening hand for going first, we have all of this. This is actually really amazing because firstly, we have a dimensional fissure, so this instantly shuts down pretty much our opponent's entire deck. Very good. And we also have a Metaphys factor, which instantly allows us to actually normal summon something out as a target. We have the choice of Tyrant Dragon or Daedalus. I'm actually going for Tyrant Dragon here. In this situation, Tyrant Dragon is significantly better because firstly, it is a 2900 beat stick, so it is stronger. It will be a bigger wall for your opponent to get over. And also, since you have D-Fissure on the field, if they manage to get rid of Tyrant Dragon, on your next turn, you can use Tyrant Dragon's effect to special summon Daedalus from the hand, in which case its effect will go off, banishing all special summon monsters on the field. So I think that's definitely a really good start. Together, you also have Decoy Dragon as an option, but in this case, I could even keep it in the hand just because Tyrant Dragon is just so good with Daedalus alone here. And of course, Metaphys factor will also prevent your opponent from actually responding. So definitely things you have to keep mind of, because a lot of people also forget this effect if they actually choose to play Metaphys factor in their deck. But that's definitely a really good start. So let's try again and shuffle up our deck. We'll try two more turns going second, and then we'll try 3 turns going second. Wait, did I say second? Yeah, I did say second, sorry. We'll try 2 more turns going first, and then we'll try 3 turns going second, and we'll see how we go there. Okay, so we'll do a few cuts, and we'll go first again. So, Tyrant Dragon, Decoy Dragon, Trade In, Gold Sarcophagus, and a Metaphys factor. Definitely a very excellent draw here. So let's start off with actually going for Trade In, and Tyrant Dragon is a level 8, so we'll discard and we'll draw 2 cards. Ragnarok, perfect, and another Tyrant Dragon. Alright, so at this point, Tyrant Dragon is definitely a viable target since it's in the grave. Decoy Dragon's effect can activate, allowing you to special summon it if your opponent chooses to attack you. We'll activate a Metaphys factor. Not that it will do anything for now, but we'll just activate it since it's possible. We'll also activate a Gold Sarcophagus right now, and I'm going to banish off my Necrophase. So here's Necrophase. We'll banish that off. Instantly it will trigger off, so we're going to shuffle up our deck and banish off the top 5 cards of our deck. Now, obviously, in this case, if we don't know that our opponent might also be playing Metaphys as well, you obviously don't want to trigger off the Necrophase so early on. But overall, not many people actually play this deck, and it is definitely very interesting to see what you can actually do here. So let's banish off the top 5. So another Necrophase, but that's fine because Gold Sarcophagus will bring back the other one in 2 turns. So you finish off with the banishing first, and then the second one activates. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that means both these effects can activate on the next standby phase, which is definitely very nice. And then the second Necrophase will trigger off as well, banishing you another 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not bad, but also not that great as well. We do know that Necrophase will come back to the hand. This one will remain banished, but it can return from the second Necrophase. And of course, we also, on our next standby phase, have the option to activate Nephthys effect. We have the option to activate Decoy Dragon's effect, and we also have the option to activate Daedalus's effect as well, which is definitely very, very good. So I'll probably be activating all three of them next turn. And we also have one more play. We have a Metaphys Ragnarok, so let's actually normal summon this and banish off the top 3 cards of our deck here. Since we know we're getting back Necrophase, we don't need to fear actually decking out. So 1, 2, and 3. So there's 2 Metaphys cards, so Metaphys Ragnarok will actually be at 2100. And yeah, that's definitely really, really good here. So, yep. The interesting thing is, since Metaphys factors on the field, your opponent can't actually negate Ragnarok's effect because they can't actually activate anything in response to your card effects. So definitely really good, and we'll also activate Decoy Dragon in the Pendulum Zone as a secondary defense here. But overall, this is definitely a really, really great first start. So let's test out one more and see how we go. Alright. Definitely trying to keep this video short, not too long, so that I can actually showcase more so what this deck can do rather than spend so much time on this. Alright, so give it a few cuts. Alright, let's see. Going first for the last time, so Necrophase, Reasoning, Ragnarok, Daedalus, and a Dimension. This is very interesting. Obviously, we're going to go for the normal summon of Ragnarok, since Necrophase doesn't have any particular value at the moment in our hand. We could also go for Reasoning, simply because Reasoning, right now we don't have Metaphys Factor, which is the field spell, so our opponent can easily negate Ragnarok's effect. Reasoning, I typically want to use this as a baiting card so that they can actually ash this, and then we'll go for Ragnarok. But let's just test it out. Let's assume our opponent can't negate it, so we'll just keep banishing. Most people will guess level 4 when they go for Reasoning, so if we get Ragnarok, it goes to the grave. If it's anything else, we're pretty much safe and we get the summon of it. So we got Ragnarok. Sadly, it went to the graveyard. Pretty bad, but what can you do? We can normal summon Metaphys Ragnarok and activate its effect, banishing top 3 cards. So 1, 2, and 3 are 2 Metaphys cards. It will be at 2100. On the next turn, we can also activate Nephthys effect as well, so definitely really good. We'll also set our Metaphys Dimension, which can definitely work out a few things here. So, not too much, but overall, again, you don't really have a bad hand with this particular deck. You will never break, I can promise you that. So now let's actually try going second and seeing what we can actually do here. So, let's shuffle it up. And this time we'll draw 6 cards. Alright, trying to do this fast, but at the same time don't want to ruin my sleeves. So give it a few cuts and 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, so definitely a very, very good hand here. Reason why I say this is because we can instantly activate Asa Metaphys and banish off our Ascension, and that will allow us to draw a card. But at the same time, Ascension also activates since it was banished, and you can add any Metaphys card you want from your deck to your hand. For that, your opponent could activate Ash, but of course, we're assuming they can't negate, so we'll just activate, or we'll add back our Metaphys Factor and activate it immediately. What this means is your opponent can no longer now respond to any of your Metaphys monster effects. So we're going to normal summon Ragnarok, and let's shuffle up our deck and banish up the top 3 cards of our deck here. Okay, and we'll give it a few cuts. 1, 2, 3, and let's banish off the top 3 cards of our deck. So 1, 2, and 3. So again, 2 Metaphys monsters, so it'll be at 2100. And Nephthys can also activate its effect next turn as well. But of course, we can also activate a Decoy Dragon in the Pendulum Zone, allowing that added protection. And as a Metaphys is on the field and it's your turn, and since a Metaphys card was actually banished, and this is your second turn, I'm sure your opponent has monsters on the field, so all their monsters will pretty much lose 500 attack and defense. And since Ragnarok's at 2100, I'm sure it should be able to get over at least one of them. So if you manage to deal damage to your opponent, you can also special summon a level 5 or higher Metaphys monster from your deck. And I would actually bring out a Daedalus and banish off the rest of your opponent's monsters if they have a lot, or the potential to even perhaps go for a Metaphys Nephthys if your opponent has a bunch of set spells and traps. And instantly you'll banish off all their set spells and traps, and they can't respond because you have a Metaphys factor on the field. So again, you're in a very, very good position here. End of turn, obviously, you can set waterfall, but overall, you're in such a great position anyway. So let's try again. Got 2 more turns to try this, or 2 more times, and we'll see what we can do here. So give it a few cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our 6th card is a Metaphys Ragnarok. Alright, so this is actually a little more slow, but it's definitely not a bad hand at all. So basically, all we can really do for this is normal summon Ragnarok, hope that they don't negate. In this case, we're assuming they can't, so we'll banish the top 3, 1, 2, and 3. Only 1 Metaphys card, so overall we're just gaining 300. It's on 18, but we can do a few things here. We can actually just set 3 and end our turn. So not the best hand. We could set 3, obviously. We can use Dragon Souls to search for 2 Worm-type monsters from our hand, or we can even do this to send all these to the grave to draw cards as well, +1. And Metaphys Ascension also has its own effect to discard and draw cards. So overall, you're not particularly losing out on any cards or anything. You're not minusing. You're definitely going to plus off this, but overall, it is definitely a much slower hand, and it does open you up to potential OTK from your opponents, which is definitely very scary. Alright, so that was the second hand. That was probably one of the worst hands we actually got, which, again, we still didn't really break. I mean, we still have a good situation here, which, with this deck, honestly, you do want to go first, but overall, you can actually make do with second as well. So, let's try for one final time how we go here, and hopefully this video isn't too long. We might be hitting 15-minute mark here, but I don't mind at all. So, shuffle things up. Okay, and then we'll cut it a few times. And we'll draw a final 6. So, Decoy Dragon, Crossbreed, got sarcophagus, Necroface, damn, and a Macrocosmos. Very interesting. Wow, this is definitely a really weird hand. Setting Macrocosmos, definitely a really good card because this instantly shuts down Sky Strikers. We have Decoy Dragon, actually not a bad card at all. So we'll put that there. We'll activate the God Sarcophagus. At this point, we're revealing what our opponent actually had, what we're actually playing to our opponent. So I'm actually going to banish off the Daedalus. On your next turn, I do not want you to actually return Daedalus off his own effect. Instead, when your opponent tries to declare an attack on you, then... oh no, actually, it's only if your monster is actually targeted for an attack, so that's actually a worse situation. What I'll do is I'll probably set the Necroface. Your opponent doesn't know what it is, so on your next turn you can actually activate Macrocosmos, and if this is destroyed in any way, it banishes, instantly triggering off the effect to banish 5 from the top of the deck. But at the same time, if your opponent tries to target this and you feel like they have too many special summon monsters on the field, or if they have a bunch of extra link monsters, then then you can actually use Decoy Dragon's effect, swap it out, banish it, and special summon out Daedalus, immediately banishing all their special summon monsters on the field. So you got really, really good board here, because Macrocosmos is also a really great card to actually banish off everything your opponent sends to the grave. So very good hand, and we also have a second Necrophase in the hand as well, which honestly is not too bad. I'm actually thinking that I might take out Crossbreed, because obviously we're never put in a situation where it comes in handy. So that's the thing about test hands. Always try things out and see if a card is useful in a particular situation or not. And in this case, I found one card that doesn't really benefit us too much, and I might think about taking this out to actually put in a third copy of Gold Sarcophagus. But yeah, that's basically it for the test hand video. This was definitely a good way for me to get a bit of insight myself, and you guys can do the same for yourself as well when you build this deck. It's always great to test things out, and you'll always find the flaws in different decks and stuff like that. You'll also find many weaknesses, and because of such weaknesses, you can actually improve on it or help make it into a strength, and be wary of such situations. And if you have any bad draws, then in that case, it means you have to fix up your deck. But that's basically it. Tell me what you guys actually think about this. Do you guys actually thought these plays were good? Could I actually improve on these plays? But in the meantime, hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.